Good morning, moms. Happy Monday. I am recording this video before the chaos starts and I have to go downstairs and tend to my 3 children. But I wanted to make this video for my rejuvenating moms out there. For those of you that don't know, at the Compass Moms, we have 3 different personas that we focus on. And those personas are new and expectant moms, career-oriented moms, and rejuvenating moms. And so rejuvenating moms are moms that maybe their kids are growing up and they're not needed as much anymore. Life is starting to look a lot easier. Maybe your kids are all gone at this point. Maybe they have kids of their own. Maybe you're going through menopause, identity shifts, all the things. So that stage of motherhood can be very difficult. And while I can't relate to that at this point in my life, I have many friends that are going through this stage. And I have talked to many women who are experiencing identity shifts, identity crisis, isolation, loneliness, sadness. These are points in women's lives where their marriages collapse because the focus has been on the children for so long, and then the kids grow up, they leave the house, and then you look at your marriage and you realize that there really hasn't been anything there for quite some time. It's not the case for everybody, but this is just a trend that I've seen a lot. And with close friends, that's when the isolation starts to creep in, because your identity has been your children for 18 plus years. And so I can really imagine how hard that is and how hard that is to navigate. Again, I'm not at that stage in my life. And so I am talking from my education, experience in social work, things that I've learned, things that I've observed, women that I've talked to. And we are going to bring in women who personally are going through this, who specialize in certain areas of this stage of motherhood. That's what the platform is going to focus on. And we're going to have women that teach this. Maybe they teach about menopause. Maybe they teach about finances as you get older and, navigating that, and retirement and all the things. I mean, the list could go on what we could focus on. But for today, I took some notes and I'm just going to read off some things, because I've noticed in feedback that I've gotten with moms that are in this stage, things that they're navigating and that they're going through and that they're struggling with. And so I thought I could offer some perspective and some suggestions. So one of the things I think that is just a common theme across this stage of motherhood is just feeling like you don't know yourself and what your purpose is now that your kids are grown up and you're needed in a different way. So as moms with little kids, we're needed 24/7, 7 days a week. There's more demand. But as your kids get older, you're still needed, but that shifts. It looks different, right? And so some suggestions, of things that moms in this stage of motherhood that can do is reconnect socially. And I've talked to women that are in this stage and they're like, I haven't worked. There's a lot of moms that have been stay-at-home moms majority of, their kids' lives. And so I have a background in HR. I was in HR for 10 years. And one of the things I would love to teach and that I have helped women with is redesigning their resume, right? Teaching them basic interview skills, how to get back into the workforce, how to maybe start your own business, start a new career. So reconnecting socially can mean so many different things. It doesn't just mean going out and making friends. It can mean maybe you want to get back into the workforce. Maybe you want to work again. So really, figuring out how do you want to reconnect socially. Is that going to different events in your community, finding different things that are going on, workshops, hobbies, volunteer opportunities? whatever that looks like for you. And maybe again, it's just simply wanting to make new friends. How can you do that? What's going on in your community that you can meet up with other women that are going through, maybe they're going through a similar experience, maybe they're in the same stage as you in motherhood, and really find your group of people that are experiencing the same thing. One of the things with the Compass Moms too is we are going to have a community dashboard built into the platform where you can connect with other moms that potentially are in your area. We will break the directory within the platform down by zip code as we continue to grow. And so that'll be really nice to really connect with other moms in your area, and maybe you can meet up with them and reconnect socially. The other thing I wrote down is create purpose-driven routines. And so the thing is that we can create habits, we could create routines, but they might not be purpose driven. So how can you create a routine that is purpose driven, that will make you feel needed, make you feel wanted? I think at that stage of motherhood, that's actually really important because you were needed and wanted for so long. And so when that's taken away, that can create that isolation and that feeling of like, what's my purpose? What am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? And so when you create purpose-driven routines, that need to that feeling of being needed, and that, being having a purpose is what I'm trying to say. Because I think we all want to have a purpose. We all want that feeling of being needed, being wanted, being loved by somebody. So what I wrote down here was maybe that's volunteering, maybe that's mentoring. We do have a mentorship program with the Compass Moms, which would be perfect for rejuvenating moms who want to mentor young moms. So we do have something built out for that. Can you go, Cameron? Thank you. This is just raw motherhood of a kid interrupting when I said I was going to be recording. Cameron, yeah. Can you please shut my door? Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. That's okay.
I just wanted to say, can you order me cold lunch today?
Sure. Yeah, I can. Can you shut my door, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. He just wanted me to order cold lunch at school when his dad's downstairs, but that's okay. It's fine. Okay. See, you're always needed, literally. Okay, where was I? Mentorship program. We have a mentorship program that is built into the Compass Moms. If you are a rejuvenating mom or any kind of mom, it doesn't matter what season of motherhood you're in. If you're interested in being a mentor, you can absolutely do that. You can, once the platform is fully launched, you can apply on the platform. But if you are interested in that opportunity, please comment below wherever you're seeing this video and let us know, because that is something that we're looking for, is mentors. So maybe that is something that you do. Maybe that creates that purpose-driven need inside of you, and you can mentor other moms. Start a hobby, join a class, get out into your community, make something consistent in your life, because that will distract you from that isolation, that loneliness, and you will start to really feel a different identity shift, right? So what you thought was your purpose is being a mom, right? Now you're needed in a different way. And while it's not your children 24/7, you could impact somebody else's life. All right, let's see. Self-reflection, journal, prayer, if that's something that you're open to, therapy, what brings you joy, right? Self-reflect on that. Is it being out in nature? Is it a hobby that you've been wanting to do for years? Is it reading a book? Is it meditating? Whatever brings you joy, self-reflect on that. One of the things that I used to do and I really want to get back into is I would journal all the time. I would get a big journal. I have one here, actually. I have hundreds of journals that I actually need to use, but this was one of my journals that I would use, and it's just like I have so many notes in here, and things that I've written down. And I would just get all my thoughts out on a piece of paper every single morning for 10 minutes. I would just write everything I was feeling, even throughout the day. If something came up, I would just write it down, just keep writing. And self-reflection will bring to the surface of what you need. And so self-reflect on what brings you joy, and you'll be able to really pinpoint, is, maybe you've been in a career most of your life. Maybe you want to have a career shift. Maybe you want to start your own business. Maybe you enjoy, one of your hobbies is doing crafts. Whatever your desire is and your need is, it will come to the surface when you start to write it out. Self-reflection is one of the most important things that you could do, because it allows yourself to go within you and really reflect on what makes you happy. Because at this point in your life, after taking care of your kids for so many years, and again, you will never stop being a mom, but it'll allow you to reflect on the things that you have missed out on. Maybe it's that hobby, maybe it's that job, maybe it's that career, maybe it's that business that you wanted to create for years. Whatever it is, write it down, because you will be able to see how you could be needed in a different way and what you can do to transform your life. Okay, we're going to wrap up here. Give yourself permission to evolve. That is something that I continuously have to work on. And again, I'm in a different stage of motherhood than rejuvenating moms, but at this point especially, giving yourself permission to evolve, to transform, to shift and change is something that is going to be so valuable to you, because we can say that we're giving ourselves permission, but we might not fully be giving ourselves permission. Growth is healthy. So when you allow yourself and you give yourself permission to let go of the story that you've been telling yourself, of that identity that you've been holding on to for all of those years, you will grow. And so a lot of times, friends that I've talked to whose kids are growing up and they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Like, what am I supposed to do? They're holding on to that identity because they don't want to let go of it. They don't want to let go of that feeling of being needed, of wanted by their kids. They're repeating the story, right? And this is where you see, I think, a lot of, kids not wanting to be around their parents, that estrangement piece, right? They're estranged from their parents. They don't want anything to do with them, because a lot of times parents don't know how to let go. That's not always the case. There are some disrespectful kids out there, but I'm saying a lot of the times there has to be healthy boundaries put in place. And when you give yourself permission to evolve into a different version of yourself, you kind of start to let go of that part of your life, that story. And while your kids will still always be there, you allow yourself to transform into a different identity. And so even in my own life, I have to give myself permission to evolve into a different person, right? I'm constantly shifting, I'm constantly changing, and it's scary, right? It's scary to give yourself permission to grow, but growth is healthy. So that's something that I would suggest as well. Before we hop off, I just want to say there's, in social work, we learned about habits and identity shifts and just all these different psychological parts of your brain, right? And one of the things I always found to be interested in is habits, because there's always been a thing. I did a weight loss program one time, and it was a 21-day, I think it was by Beachbody. I can't even remember, but I had like these little cups, 21-day fix. I can't even remember. But basically it was like, do this for 21 days and, you will change. The myth with that, this is my personal thoughts and what I've learned, but 21 days is enough time to start to create the foundation of creating a habit. But research actually shows it takes 66 days to create a healthy habit, not 21. And so the reason why I'm sharing this with you is, if we're gonna shift your identity and we're gonna start to find purpose-driven routines and create healthy habits, we actually have to do that for longer than 21 days. And we have to be consistent in that. So the for the habit to really stick, if we look at 66 days, right? I don't know why it's 66, but that's just what research has shown. The habit sticking is based off of if the habit that you're trying to create is simple or difficult, right? So whatever you're trying to do, maybe it's a new hobby, maybe you're volunteering, maybe you're creating a new routine, maybe you're working out, right? Maybe that's something that you're focusing on. Is it simple or difficult? The consistency that you're putting into creating the new habit, the stress level that it causes you. So is it something that's easy and smooth, or is it stressing you out? Because I could guarantee you the more it stresses you out, the less likely the routine's gonna stick, because it's just your nervous system can't handle it. So stress level, emotional connection to the habit that you're wanting to create. So if you're emotionally connected to it, the chances of it sticking are actually greater. And then your environment, your support system to it. Is your spouse, your partner, your family, your friends actually, a part of this new habit that you're creating? Are they cheering you on? Is there a healthy environment around it? Because if you go into it alone, less likely that it's going to stick, because you're constantly focusing on it. But if you could create a support system that's attached to the habit that you're trying to create, the more likely that it will stick and evolve into like a healthy habit that you want to create in your life. So I just wanted to throw that in there too, because if we're trying to change our identity and we're trying to shift into a new person, right? A new version of yourself, consistency is key. And focus further beyond 21 days, right? Let's focus past a month, right? Maybe 2 months. Go into 2 months, I would say. About 2.5 months, I would suggest. And this is something that I'm going to work on too in my own life, is just being more consistent. So I just wanted to hop on and really talk to my rejuvenating moms. Any stage of motherhood that you're in, this could be for you as well. But rejuvenating moms, I know that it's hard. I know that it can feel lonely and isolated. And so I hope this helps you in some kind of way. And I hope you all have a beautiful day.